Alright, settle in because you're about to step into a different world. Take a moment. Where are you watching or listening from right now? And what time is it for you? Seriously, tell me in the comments. And while you're there, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more journeys like this one. Right, with that done, let's go. Close your eyes for a second, really feel it. The year is 1891. The place. A small, unassuming cottage garden nestled on the outskirts of an English village somewhere in Kent. It's early spring, just after dawn. The air still holds a biting chill, a lingering whisper of winter that refuses to completely fade. You step outside, the crispness immediately catching in your lungs. The ground beneath your worn boots is damp, yielding slightly with each step, still heavy from the night's dew. You can smell it, that deep, rich, earthy scent, the unmistakable aroma of loam. It's a smell that promises growth, a hidden vitality stirring beneath the surface. It's the scent of labor too, of honest work that grounds you literally. A thick wooden handle presses into your palm, the familiar weight of your spade a comfort. The metal blade, already dulled from seasons of use, glints faintly as the nascent morning sun begins to filter through the hedgerows. You brace yourself, drawing a deep breath, and plunge the spade into the stubborn soil. There's a satisfying crunch as the blade slices through the damp earth, followed by the soft tearing sound of roots giving way. You push down with your boot, grunting softly with the effort, and then lever the handle, lifting a heavy clod of earth. It tumbles over, dark and moist, revealing a network of pale, thread-like roots and perhaps a wriggling earthworm disturbed from its slumber. You watch it for a moment, a tiny, vital part of this hidden world, before it quickly burrows back into the fresh earth. The cold seeps through the leather of your gloves, a familiar sensation that reminds you you're alive, you're connected. Your muscles begin to ache almost immediately, a dull throb in your lower back, your shoulders protesting the repetitive motion. But there's a rhythm to it, a meditative dance between your body and the earth. Dig, lift, turn, dig, lift, turn. The clods break apart under your careful eye, transformed from dense lumps into a fine, crumbly tilth ready to receive. You see the small patch you've cleared, a dark, rich rectangle emerging from the tangled remnants of last year's growth. It's hard work, no denying that. Your brow is furrowed, a bead of sweat trickles down your temple despite the cold. You glance up, catching the eye of Mrs. Henderson next door, already hanging out her washing. She offers a small, knowing nod, a shared understanding of the daily grind, the constant tending required to simply exist. You nod back, a silent acknowledgement. This soil, this earth you're turning, it holds more than just potential seeds. It holds the echoes of generations, the hopes of families, the simple, profound stories of everyday life. You feel the satisfaction of it, the tangible result of your labor. The ground is awakening, and you are its instrument, shaping it, preparing it, a small act of faith that beauty will follow. It's a reminder that even the hardest work, the most mundane tasks, can be deeply, profoundly connected to creation. You pause, the spade leaning against your leg, and bend down, reaching a bare hand into the freshly turned earth. The soil is cool against your skin, a fine grit clinging to your fingertips as you scoop up a generous handful. It's heavier than you expect, substantial, a compact mass that slowly begins to crumble between your fingers. You bring it closer, inhaling deeply. That scent, the deep, fundamental aroma of loam, is even more intense now, immediate, raw. It speaks of ancient forests, of rain and sunlight, of all the life and death that has passed through it for centuries. You sift the earth slowly, allowing it to fall back into the garden bed in a steady trickle. As it cascades, you notice the tiny details that were hidden just moments ago. There are minute fragments of root, pale and delicate, severed from their larger networks. Small dark pebbles, worn smooth by time, reveal themselves, and the occasional glimmer of mica catches the early morning light. You might even spot a minuscule seed, barely visible, patiently waiting for its moment to awaken, or a tiny, almost invisible insect scurrying away from the sudden exposure to the surface. This isn't just dirt, it's a living tapestry, a microcosm of the entire world beneath your feet. You feel its texture, the slight dampness, the varying coarseness of sand and clay, the silken richness of humus. It's incredibly complex, far more so than its unassuming appearance suggests. Each particle, each fragment holds a story, a history of growth and decay, a silent promise of what is yet to come. It's humbling holding this small handful, knowing the immense power and potential it contains. You pinch a small clump between your thumb and forefinger, feeling its plasticity, its readiness to be molded, to accept new life. This is the foundation of everything you will plant, the bedrock for the vibrant colors and delicate fragrances that will soon burst forth. It's a connection, a palpable link not just to the plants that will grow here, but to all the hands that have tended this patch before you, to all the harvests, all the seasons, all the lives lived around this very spot. There's a quiet satisfaction in this moment, a profound sense of purpose. You are not just preparing a garden, you are engaging in an age-old ritual, a continuous dance with nature that transcends generations. You gently release the last of the soil from your hand, letting it rejoin the bed, your fingers slightly stained, a tangible reminder of your communion with the earth. It makes you realize that true wealth isn't just in what you own, but in the meaningful work you do in the life you nurture, however small and seemingly insignificant it might appear to others. The garden, in its humble way, is a vast, unfolding story, and with this handful of earth, you've just turned its next page. You reach for the small, unassuming packet. It feels dry and brittle in your hand, the paper rustling softly as you carefully unfold the top flap. A faint, almost imperceptible scent of dried earth and aged paper drifts upwards, a quiet prelude to the life contained within. You tip the packet gently, and a cascade of tiny dark specks tumbles into the hollow of your palm. These are no ordinary objects, they are promises, miniature universes of potential. You hold them there, a delicate handful of future. Some are no bigger than a pinhead, almost invisible against the lines on your skin. Others are slightly larger, perhaps the size of a poppy seed with a rougher texture. You might notice the intricate patterns on their surfaces, tiny ridges and markings that seem too perfect for something so small. Each one feels remarkably light, yet their collective weight in your hand is immense, laden with the anticipation of what they could become. With utmost care, you stoop over the prepared earth, the cool air still touching your cheeks. Your fingers, trained by years of similar tasks, begin their precise work. You gently draw a shallow furrow with one finger, a dark, moist line across the tilled soil. Then with an almost reverent touch, you begin to place the seeds one by one, spaced just so along the length of the furrow. It's a painstaking process requiring a steady hand and absolute focus. You feel the grit of the soil against your skin, the subtle shift as each tiny seed settles into its temporary resting place. You're not just dropping them, you're entrusting them to the earth, whispering a silent hope with each placement. A small shadow passes overhead, perhaps a robin briefly pausing its hunt, observing your meticulous ritual. You don't look up, your gaze fixed on the soil, on the delicate balance of life you're orchestrating. Once all the seeds are laid out, you gently draw the loose soil back over them, patting it down lightly, creating a soft blanket. The surface of the soil now looks almost undisturbed, yet you know that beneath it lies a vibrant network of hope. It's a quiet act of faith, really, planting these tiny dormant things into the cold, dark earth. You cannot force them to grow, only provide the conditions and trust in the unseen forces of nature. You stand up slowly, your back aching slightly, and look down at the freshly sown patch. It's a potent reminder that the most significant transformations often begin with the smallest, most unassuming gestures, holding a silent, profound power to shape the future. You cup a single seed in your palm, but this isn't just any seed. You can feel its delicate, almost brittle surface, a muted shade of brown, perhaps a subtle hint of grey. This tiny, unassuming kernel carries with it a lineage, a history, a trust passed down through seasons. You picked it yourself last autumn, carefully extracting it from the dried pod of your mother's favorite delphinium, the tall, majestic blue spires that have graced this very patch for as long as you can remember. You know what this seed will become. You can almost see it already, the precise shade of cobalt blue, the exact height it will reach, the way its petals will unfurl, a carbon copy of its parent. There's a profound sense of certainty about it, a quiet confidence that transcends simple hope. It's not a wish, but an expectation built on generations of careful observation and selective saving. This small, hard casing holds an immutable instruction, a pre-written story just waiting for the right moment to begin. You turn it over with a meticulous finger, marveling at its minute perfection. It's a complete blueprint, a tiny, self-contained world designed with exquisite precision. There are no deviations, no unexpected twists to its inherent nature. It's encoded, programmed, if you will, to be exactly what it is meant to be. You compare it in your mind to a specific stitch in a tapestry or a note in a cherished melody, each perfectly placed, contributing to a predictable, beautiful whole. As you gaze at it, you feel a deep connection not just to the plant it will become, but to the lineage it represents. Your grandmother saved seeds from these very plants, and her mother before her. Each generation carefully selecting the strongest, the most vibrant, ensuring the purest strain. It's a living trust, a botanical legacy you now hold, quite literally, in your hand. You feel a profound respect for this tiny vessel, for the inherent wisdom it contains, a wisdom that existed long before any human hand ever tended a garden. It's a testament to nature's unfailing design, a quiet reassurance that some things are reliably, beautifully consistent in an ever-changing world. This seed isn't merely a promise, it's a guaranteed outcome, a small, perfect piece of natural engineering ready to unfurl its predetermined beauty. The groan of the well's winding mechanism scrapes through the quiet morning air, a raw sound that feels ancient, echoing in the still garden. You grasp the rough, cold metal handle, its chill instantly biting into your palm, a stark reminder of the early hour. The wooden crank, worn smooth by countless hands before yours, begins its laborious turn. You lean into it, your muscles tensing, the thick hemp rope coiling and uncoiling with a steady, deliberate creak, sending the bucket plunging into the depths. Down, down the bucket descends, a dark shape disappearing into the gloom of the well shaft. You listen intently, holding your breath, for the distant, satisfying asterisk plunk as it finally strikes the unseen water far below. Then a muffled gurgle, a hollow echo that rises from the darkness, indicating it's drawing its fill. The rope slackens for a moment, then tightens, pulling taut as the weight increases. Now the real work begins. You reverse the motion, turning the crank with renewed, focused effort. Each rotation is a physical strain, a determined tug against the invisible weight of the water. Your forearms begin to burn, a deep, persistent ache spreading into your shoulders. The rough hemp rope bites into your gloved hands, leaving faint imprints even through the sturdy fabric. You can feel the water sloshing, hear its subtle churn as the heavy bucket slowly, inexorably rises from the depths. It feels like pulling a small boulder from the very belly of the earth. Your breath hitches with the exertion, a fine sheen of sweat breaking out on your brow despite the lingering morning chill. Finally, with a relieved sigh, the bucket emerges from the well's dark opening, brimming with clear, cold water. It glistens, reflecting the pale morning light, droplets clinging to its wooden sides. You carefully steady it, swinging it over to the waiting watering can, a battered, galvanized metal vessel resting patiently beside the wellhead. The water pours out with a clean, rushing sound, a liquid cascade that makes the can feel suddenly weighty in your hands. A few drops splash onto your worn boots, an icy shock that makes you shiver briefly. The silence that follows is profound, punctuated only by the distant caw of a crow and the gentle drip of water from the well's edge. You lift the now heavy watering can, your arm protesting, the muscles in your back already tightening. This simple, life-giving water, which will soon nourish the nascent sprouts in your garden, has been earned, every single drop of it. It's a powerful reminder that the most essential things often require the most effort, and that real appreciation comes from the labor involved in sustaining life. You stand beneath the eaves of your small cottage, the rhythmic drumming of rain on the tiled roof a soothing, consistent sound. It's not a violent downpour, but a steady, persistent English drizzle, the kind that settles everything, washing the dust from the leaves and deepening the colors of the slumbering garden. You can feel the cool, damp air on your face, taste the freshness carried on the breeze. A large wooden barrel sits firmly positioned beneath the downspout, its dark, weathered staves already glistening with moisture. You listen to the gurgle as the rainwater, channeled from the roof, cascades into the barrel with a steady, liquid music. It's a sound of effortless abundance, a stark contrast to the strenuous labor of the well. This water falling freely from the sky feels like a pure gift, a natural blessing. You reach a hand into the stream as it flows, feeling its cool, untainted flow, clean and soft against your skin. The barrel is nearly full, its surface reflecting the grey sky, a quiet pool mirroring the clouds that have offered their bounty. The overflow pipe drips steadily onto the path, creating a small expanding puddle, a visual testament to the sheer volume of water collected. This is the sky's mercy, direct and unearned, a lifeline for your plants, nourishing them with no effort beyond the simple act of positioning a vessel. You know this water is different. It's softer, gentler, less harsh than the well water, invigorating the soil in a way that feels more natural, more holistic. You think of the whispers you've heard, the talk in the village of newer houses, those with tamed taps. Imagine that. Water simply appearing at the twist of a handle, piped directly into your home, bypassing the arduous journey from deep earth or soaring sky. A constant, effortless flow taken for granted. You picture it, a polished brass tap, water gushing forth, no ache in the arm, no strained back, no waiting for rain. It sounds almost miraculous, a luxury beyond your present grasp, yet undeniably efficient. For now, though, you have the rain barrel and the well. You dip your watering can into the brimming barrel, the water cool and silken as it fills the metal container. There's a certain gratitude in this work, in this direct communion with the elements. It makes you realize how quickly convenience can make us forget the profound value of what once required effort. The effortless tap, while practical, would somehow diminish the quiet, earned satisfaction of receiving such a fundamental gift. You reach out, your fingers brushing against the velvety softness of a half-open rosebud, a deep crimson promising glorious bloom. The air around you, thick and warm from the late morning sun, is already heavy with its unmistakable perfume, a rich, sweet scent that seems to cling to your clothes, to your very breath. But as you shift, trying to reach a dead head nestled deeper within the bush, a sudden sharp prick of pain jabs into your finger. It's instantaneous, a tiny, fierce sting that makes you recoil, hissing softly. You pull your hand back, a small bead of bright crimson blood already welling up on your fingertip, a testament to the rose's formidable defense. You inspect it, a moment of sharp frustration quickly giving way to resignation. It's always the way with roses, isn't it? Such breathtaking beauty, yet it demands respect, even pain, for its admiration. The thorn, small and almost invisible, stands as a silent, unwavering guard. You take up your sturdy leather gloves, pulling them on with a sigh, the familiar scent of old leather mingling with the intense floral perfume. Now protected, you cautiously plunge your hand back into the tangle of green stems and deep, glossy leaves. The secateurs clink against a branch as you snip, the spent flower falling softly to the damp earth. As you move, brushing against the leaves, the rose's fragrance intensifies, surrounding you, wrapping you in its opulent embrace. It's a perfume that feels ancient, luxurious, almost intoxicating in its richness. It's a complex scent, not just sweet, but with undertones of spice and something subtly wild, a primal essence. You inhale deeply, allowing the scent to fill your senses, a potent antidote to the prick of the thorn. It's an overwhelming sensation, almost dizzying in its intensity. You see the vibrant color of the petals, the intricate layers, each one perfectly formed, holding tiny droplets of dew like scattered jewels. A bumblebee, fat and fuzzy, buzzes past your ear, equally drawn to the rose's allure, disappearing into a fully open bloom. Despite the persistent threat of its thorns, despite the careful dance required to tend it, you feel a profound connection to this plant. The rose is a symbol of so much passion, beauty, resilience. It stands as a vibrant testament to the fact that the most exquisite pleasures often come with a small necessary price. Its beauty isn't just a gift. It's an experience, a living paradox of pain and perfect fragrance, reminding you that true elegance often holds a fierce, protective edge. You hold a single, pristine rose in your hand, so different from the untamed beauties that fill your own garden. This is a specimen, a triumph of careful cultivation, a flower engineered to an exacting standard. Its petals, an almost impossibly uniform shade of pale cream or perhaps a delicate blush pink, unfurl with an exquisite precision. Each one is perfectly layered, immaculate, without a single blemish or the slightest hint of an insect's touch. You bought it from a grander nursery, the kind that supplies the estates and the townhouses of the gentry. It feels almost unreal in its flawless perfection. You bring it slowly to your nose, anticipating the rich, heady perfume that you associate with your own sprawling bushes. But what greets you is only a faint, almost ghostly whisper of fragrance. It's undeniably beautiful to behold, a vision of botanical artistry, yet somehow its soul feels muted, as if its powerful scent has been deliberately sacrificed in the relentless pursuit of its ideal form. This is the meticulous outcome of years, perhaps even decades, spent by master horticulturists, tirelessly selecting and breeding for precise color, for an impressive petal count, for a perfect symmetry that strictly adheres to the aesthetic sensibilities of the era. You recall the detailed illustrations in the expensive gardening journals, the glossy plates depicting these prize roses, each a testament to mankind's persistent ambition to refine and control nature. They command exorbitant prices, coveted by those with the means to acquire such carefully engineered beauty. To possess and display a rose like this, perhaps in a gleaming crystal vase in your drawing room, communicates volumes without uttering a single word. It quietly signifies refined taste, elevated status, a demonstrable connection to a world of cultivated elegance and strict societal expectations. You run your gloved finger along its smooth, almost thornless stem. Even the thorns on this particular hybrid appear somehow less aggressive, smaller, almost domesticated, as if their wild defense has been selectively bred out. It is an ideal, certainly, a rose stripped of its wilder, more challenging aspects, made effortlessly palatable, perfect for unblemished display. Yet as you admire its sheer, unblemished perfection, a subtle unease settles within you. Does something essential get lost when nature is so thoroughly tamed, so meticulously sculpted to human desires? Does the absence of the thorn's fierce bite, the muted perfume, somehow diminish its intrinsic soul, its vibrant, untamed spirit? It makes you ponder whether the relentless pursuit of such an artificial ideal, however dazzling in its beauty, always comes at a silent, unseen cost, a trade-off for a perfection that feels just a little bit hollow. You push aside a trailing branch of borage, its rough, hairy leaves scratching softly against your sleeve, and step into the potager. It's a different world from the ornamental flower beds you were tending earlier. Here the beauty is raw, functional, and intensely aromatic. The air doesn't carry the delicate sweetness of roses, but a vibrant, earthy medley of sharp, green, and slightly acrid scents. It's a purposeful fragrance, the smell of nourishment, of coming meals, rather than mere adornment. Your boot sinks a little into the softened earth of the path, a faint dampness clinging to the leather. You cast your gaze across the rows of robust greens, the bushy herbs, the burgeoning root vegetables pushing up from the soil. There's a quiet bustle of activity here, not from people, but from insects humming around the flowering dill and parsley and the busy crawl of woodlice under fallen leaves. You bend down, your fingers reaching for a clump of vigorous mint. Its leaves, a deep, lush green, feel cool and almost waxy to the touch. You pluck several sprigs, snapping the stems with a satisfying, crisp sound. As you do, a sudden, powerful burst of scent erupts, sharp and invigorating, right beneath your nose. It's a heady, almost medicinal aroma, cool and fiery all at once, rushing into your nostrils and making your eyes prickle slightly. You crush a leaf between your thumb and forefinger, releasing an even stronger explosion of its essential oils. A clean, almost biting taste immediately registering on your tongue as you absent-mindedly touch your fingers to your lips. It's an instant jolt, a natural stimulant that clears your head and sharpens your senses. Moving on, you kneel by a patch of onions, their green shoots standing stiffly upright like tiny spears. You plunge your trowel into the soil beside a particularly plump one, feeling the resistance of the earth as you lever it upwards. The onion emerges, round and firm, its papery skin still caked with dark, moist soil. You brush away the clinging earth, and as you peel back the outermost layer, a familiar, pungent aroma begins to diffuse into the air. It's a different kind of sharpness than the mint, more savory, deeper, with an almost metallic edge. Your eyes begin to water almost immediately, an involuntary reaction to the powerful oils released. A small frown creases your brow as you blink rapidly, the sting making your eyes momentarily blur. You grasp the onion firmly, its cool, smooth weight a comforting promise of sustenance. You can almost taste the sharpness on your tongue. Imagine it sizzling gently in a pan. This is the heart of the cottage kitchen, the essential flavor that elevates a simple stew or a basic bread. This garden isn't just a pretty face, it's the very larder, a living pantry providing for every meal. The potent smells, the fleeting sting, the solid feel of the harvest in your hand, they all reinforce the fundamental connection between your labor and your livelihood. It's a profound understanding that truly nourishes more than just the body. It feeds a quiet, unshakable sense of self-reliance, a knowledge that what you plant and tend you will eat. You return from the potager, your hands full, a small wicker basket cradled against your hip. The vegetables you've just gathered feel cool and solid against your skin. You can still smell the pungent earth clinging to the onion, the sharp, almost medicinal scent of the freshly picked parsley mingling with the subtle, sweet earthiness of a newly unearthed carrot. It's a tapestry of aromas that speak directly of the soil of honest growth. You carry them into your small, warm kitchen, the sounds of everyday life, a kettle beginning to hum on the hob, the faint scratch of a cat's claw against a wooden leg, a familiar backdrop. You carefully set the basket down on the scrubbed pine table. Its contents spill out in a vibrant display: emerald green cabbage leaves, firm and crinkly, the bright orange of the carrots still bearing faint root hairs. The deep glossy purple of a beetroot, its stalk stained crimson, and the earthy brown of potatoes waiting to be scrubbed. This is your feast, a veritable bounty that has traveled mere meters from its origins in the garden. Each item, you know exactly where it grew, exactly how much effort went into its tending. You pick up a plump potato, its skin rough but yielding slightly to your touch. It's heavy, substantial, a reassuring weight in your hand. This isn't a foreign import, withered and uncertain from a long journey by sea or rail. This is immediate, vital, undeniably fresh. It carries the flavor of your own patch of England, nurtured by your hands, watered by the very rain that falls on your roof. You picture the larger markets in town, the bustling docks where ships unload exotic spices, fruits from distant lands. You hear talk of food traveling across miles from places you can barely imagine to reach the plates of the wealthy. There's a wonder to it, perhaps, this vast network of trade, but also a detachment, a sense of the unknown. Your garden, however, offers something different, something profoundly grounded. As you begin to sort the vegetables, you feel a deep, quiet satisfaction settle over you. This isn't just about putting food on the table. It's about a direct, unbroken connection to the source of your sustenance. It's a profound security, knowing that what nourishes your family has come directly from your own labor, from the earth just beyond your door. This modest harvest, gathered within an arm's reach, provides a richer, more tangible sense of wealth than any faraway delicacy could ever offer. It's a simple, undeniable truth. The most meaningful sustenance often comes not from miles away, but from the meters right outside your kitchen door. You step away from the vibrant splashes of color, past the cheerful snapdragons and the towering hollyhocks, your gaze shifting from simple beauty to something far more purposeful. Your eye scans the edges of the beds, searching until you find it, a bushy clump of feverfew, its small, white, daisy-like flowers bobbing gently in the afternoon breeze. It looks unassuming, almost humble, nestled amongst its showier neighbors, but you know its true nature. You reach out, your fingers brushing against its deeply lobed leaves. They feel soft, almost fragile, yet hold a hidden power. You select a few, carefully snapping the stems, and immediately an intense, almost medicinal aroma bursts into the air. It's not a sweet scent, nor is it particularly pleasant. It's sharp, distinctly bitter, with an underlying pungency that makes your nose twitch slightly. It's the smell of efficacy, of something working rather than just being. You crush one of the leaves between your thumb and forefinger, and the scent intensifies, clinging to your skin, a potent, earthy bitterness that makes your mouth water in a strange, anticipatory way. You carry the plucked leaves indoors into the warmth of the small kitchen. The kettle is already steaming gently on the hob, a low, comforting hiss filling the air. You carefully place the feverfew leaves into a small ceramic mug, then pour the boiling water over them. Instantly, the pungent aroma intensifies, diffusing through the kitchen, a cloud of verdant bitterness. You watch as the water begins to take on a pale, greenish-yellow tint, the tiny leaves swirling, slowly releasing their powerful essence into the liquid. It's a quiet transformation, a natural alchemy unfolding before your eyes. After a moment, you take a cautious sip. The taste is undeniably, overwhelmingly bitter, almost acrid on your tongue, making you involuntarily grimace. It's a flavor that demands attention, a sharp, earthy punch that leaves a lingering sensation in your mouth. You feel a familiar, subtle warmth spread through you as you swallow, a testament to its potency. This isn't a pleasant drink, no, but it's a vital one. You know its purpose, its long-held reputation for easing the throbbing ache in a head, for bringing down a persistent fever. This simple plant, grown alongside your pretty flowers, is a testament to the practical, sometimes harsh realities of life. Your garden isn't just about beauty, it's a living pharmacy, a direct link to the healing power of the earth, providing solace and remedy when help or money might be scarce. It makes you deeply appreciate how much wisdom is rooted in the earth beneath your feet, quietly offering its own potent medicine to those who know how to seek it. You move through the vibrant tangle of your cottage garden, not admiring the flamboyant blooms today, but with a focused, almost urgent purpose. The summer air, usually heavy with the perfume of roses and honeysuckle, seems to carry a different weight, a quiet concern. You kneel by a robust patch, your fingers seeking out the broad, deeply veined leaves of comfrey. Its texture is unmistakable, coarse and hairy, almost bristly to the touch, like a kindly old man's beard. You snap several of the larger leaves from their stalks, the stems yielding with a fibrous tear, releasing an immediate strong scent, deep green and earthy, with an underlying, almost raw medicinal quality that pricks at your senses. Carrying the rough leaves indoors, you settle by the comforting warmth of the kitchen hearth. The heavy stone mortar awaits, its smooth interior already bearing the faint stains of countless remedies prepared before. You tear the comfrey leaves roughly with your fingers, feeling their damp resilience, and place them into the mortar. Then you grasp the solid wooden pestle, its end worn smooth from years of use, and begin the rhythmic work. Thud, thud, thud. Each impact crushes the fibers, macerating the leaves, releasing their potent juices. The green pulp darkens under the pressure, slowly transforming into a thick, verdant paste. The kitchen air fills with an intensified version of the comfrey's unique aroma, a concentrated, almost cloying greenness that speaks of ancient earth and raw, restorative power. You feel the warmth of your own hands, the steady ache in your forearm as you work the paste to the perfect consistency, not too wet, not too dry. A clean piece of linen, worn soft from many washings, is laid out. With careful hands, you spread the warm, damp comfrey paste onto its surface, creating a thick, dark green compress. The smell is strongest now, immediate and powerful. You carry it gently towards the small, still figure lying on the cot in the corner of the room. It's for a swollen ankle, perhaps, or a deep bruise, a persistent ache that has resisted simpler remedies. You gently peel back the rough blanket, revealing the tender skin. As you carefully apply the warm herbal poultice, you feel the subtle heat of the skin beneath your fingertips, the vulnerable fragility of a body in pain. The linen, soft and comforting, rests against the skin, and you secure it with strips of cloth, binding it gently in place. You look down, watching for any sign of discomfort, then up at the worried eyes of a watchful mother sitting nearby, her gaze fixed on your hands on the green poultice. There's a silent conversation passing between you, a shared anxiety, a profound, unspoken reliance on these humble garden remedies. Doctors are a distant luxury, a cost few can afford, so you turn to what the earth provides, to the knowledge passed down through generations. This is not just a herbal application, it's an act of fervent hope, a quiet prayer made manifest in bruised leaves and warm linen. It makes you realize the depth of human trust in nature's remedies, a blend of practical knowledge and an almost spiritual faith, when facing the harsh realities of illness with little more than the bounty of your own back garden and the unwavering desire to heal. You step deeper into the heart of the garden, not towards a specific flower or a task, but drawn by a pervasive, delicate vibration in the air. It's a sound that isn't quite a buzzing, more a soft, persistent hum, like 1,000 tiny strings being plucked at once. It fills the space around the honeysuckle arch and the sprawling lavender bushes, a living soundscape that speaks of tireless industry. You pause, letting the hum wash over you, feeling its subtle resonance against your eardrums. The air itself feels warm and alive, almost buzzing with an invisible energy. Your eyes begin to trace the source, following the ephemeral trails of movement amongst the riot of color. Here a large fuzzy bumblebee, its body striped with gold and black velvet, plunges headfirst into the trumpet of a foxglove. You watch its tiny legs, dusted bright yellow with pollen, kick rhythmically as it burrows deep, emerging a moment later to clean its antennae with fastidious precision before moving on. Nearby, a delicate red admiral butterfly, its wings like stained glass, flits from a vibrant red valerian to the purple heads of a towering delphinium. It dances weightlessly, its proboscis uncoiling with elegant precision to sip nectar. You see other small, iridescent flies, tiny beetles, and even a few hoverflies mimicking bees darting between the blooms, each playing its silent, vital role. The sheer number of them, the relentless, focused movement is astonishing. They are not random visitors, they are the garden's true architects, its unseen laborers. You stand perfectly still, allowing yourself to become a quiet part of this intricate ballet. A bee, perhaps a little disoriented, brushes past your ear, the fleeting whisper of its wings a tiny, intimate sensation. You can almost feel the fine dust of pollen in the air, a golden mist stirred by countless tiny wings. It's a symphony of life, a constant, gentle thrum of activity that keeps the entire ecosystem thriving. Each one a tiny engine, diligently transferring the essence of life from one blossom to the next, entirely oblivious to your presence, yet profoundly connected to your very existence. It's a powerful reminder of how much goes on beyond our direct effort, how many unseen forces are at play in the natural world. This garden, in all its carefully tended beauty, would be nothing but a sterile display without these tiny, tireless workers. You realize that true flourishing isn't just about what you plant, but about fostering the intricate web of life that makes growth possible, a silent, humble agreement between the earth, the flowers, and the tireless hum of 1,000 invisible wings. You lean closer to a cluster of vibrant, sweet peas, their delicate, papery petals like miniature sails catching the breeze. The air here in this specific spot is thick with their heady, almost sickly sweet perfume, a scent designed purely for attraction. You hold your breath, careful not to disturb the tiny drama unfolding. A large, clumsy bumblebee, its body a fluffy ball of striped velvet, is completely engrossed, rummaging deep inside a purple bloom. The sound of its wings is a rapid, almost frantic flutter, barely audible but keenly felt. You watch as it emerges, its tiny legs now visibly dusted with a golden powder, pollen. It pauses for a moment on the edge of the petal, meticulously cleaning its antennae, a tiny, instinctive act before lumbering off towards another bloom, a yellow one this time, a few inches away. As it disappears inside, you know that some of that precious gold brushed from its furry body will fertilize this new flower. It's an unspoken exchange, a silent bargain, enacted thousands of times each day throughout your garden. This fleeting moment, this fragile transfer, is the very essence of life here. Without these tireless, tiny messengers, the sweet peas would not form their plump green pods. The apples on the small espaliered tree against the wall wouldn't ripen, nor would the plump berries on the gooseberry bush. You feel a sudden, profound awareness of the interconnectedness, how your entire garden, indeed your very sustenance, relies on these seemingly insignificant interactions. You notice a sudden gust of wind, rustling the leaves violently, and the sweet pea vine sways precariously. For a heart-stopping second, you imagine the tiny bee, still deep within a blossom, being dislodged, its precious cargo of pollen scattered to the wind, its journey incomplete. The thought makes a subtle tremor run through you. How easily this vital covenant could be broken, how dependent everything is on this delicate balance, on the right weather, the right time, the right tiny creature arriving at the right bloom. The wind passes, the leaves settle, and the bee, undisturbed, emerges once more, continuing its silent, purposeful work. You let out a quiet breath you didn't realize you were holding. It's a powerful feeling, watching this, knowing that the continuation of life in your garden and much further afield rests on these minute, almost invisible connections. It makes you realize that the most profound systems are often built on the most fragile, unspoken agreements, a constant, vital dance between what gives and what receives, a testament to the elegant vulnerability of nature. The world outside your cottage is hushed, bleached almost colorless by the sharp bite of winter. The very air tastes of ice, crisp and metallic, pricking at your nostrils with each breath. You step outside, your boots crunching loudly on the frozen earth, the sound unnaturally amplified in the profound stillness. Patches of hoarfrost cling to the bare branches of the rose bushes, turning their thorns into tiny, glittering spears. The garden is a ghost of its former self, a stark, skeletal drawing rendered in shades of grey and brown. The vibrant splashes of summer are long gone, replaced by the stiff, dried remains of what once bloomed so lavishly. You walk amongst them, a solitary figure in this dormant landscape. The climbing roses are now a tangle of dark, woody stems, their leaves fallen, their petals a distant memory. The towering hollyhocks, once a riot of color, stand as brittle, blackened stalks, their seed heads resembling tiny, empty cages. You reach out a gloved hand, hesitantly at first, towards the remains of a spent delphinium. Its stem, once thick and green, is now dry and hollow, a mere whisper of its former majesty. The cold penetrates the leather of your glove, making your fingertips ache almost immediately. You grasp the fragile stalk and apply a gentle pressure. With a sudden, unnervingly loud asterisk snap asterisk, the stem breaks clean, the sound sharp and definitive in the still air, echoing the finality of the season. It splinters into pieces like brittle glass, the frozen fibers giving way without resistance. You pick up a fallen piece, observing its dry, pale interior. There's no life here now, no sap, no moisture, only the hollow shell of what was. You feel the sharp edges, the cold, dead weight of it in your palm. It's a stark visual, a potent reminder of cycles of endings. This is the garden laid bare, stripped of its exuberance, revealing the tough, persistent framework beneath. A faint breath of wind stirs the skeletal remains, making them rustle with a dry, papery sound, a whisper of past warmth. You pull your shawl tighter, the cold seeping into your bones. Yet amidst this stark beauty, this landscape of decay, there's a quiet strength, a resilient promise. It reminds you that beauty isn't always vibrant and colorful. Sometimes it's in the stark, honest lines of winter, in the undeniable proof that life, even in its apparent absence, holds a powerful, unwavering capacity for renewal, waiting patiently beneath the frozen surface. You step out and immediately the world changes. A profound silence descends, thick and heavy, muffling every sound. The sharp crunch of your boots on the path, a faint whisper a moment ago, is now absorbed, softened by the deep blanket of fresh snow. It feels as if the very air has been turned to cotton, muting the distant caw of a crow, silencing the usual rustle of the wind. The cold wraps around you, a still, deep chill that feels clean, almost purifying. The garden is transformed, unrecognizable in its white shroud. Every familiar outline is softened, smoothed, blurred by the pristine layer. The sharp angles of the cottage wall are gentle curves. The gnarled branches of the old apple tree now wear thick white sleeves. The bare skeletons of the summer flowers you saw yesterday are gone, buried beneath a pristine, unbroken expanse of white. Where once vibrant color exploded, there is now an ethereal, uniform stillness. You walk slowly, deliberately, leaving the first footprints in the undisturbed canvas. Your gaze sweeps across the transformed landscape. You know where the tall delphiniums stood, their blue spires reaching for the sun. You remember the sprawling chaos of the sweet peas, the riot of the roses. But now all that visible life has retreated, pulled deep into the earth, covered by this silent, insulating cloak. Yet as you look at the smooth undulations, you can almost feel the vibrant life slumbering beneath, waiting. You reach down, scooping up a handful of the powdery snow. It's impossibly soft, feather-light, yet intensely cold, melting almost immediately against the warmth of your palm, turning into icy drops. There's no scent now, nothing but the clean, mineral tang of frozen air. The garden, usually a symphony of smells, is utterly scentless, a stark contrast to the fragrant summers. This is the garden asleep, resting, gathered into itself. It's a powerful testament to the necessity of pause, of winter's quiet contemplation before the inevitable return of life. You realize how much we crave color and sound, yet how much profound beauty exists in this utter stillness. It makes you understand that sometimes the most potent growth, the deepest renewal happens in the quietest, most hidden moments under a blanket of white, sustained by nothing but memory and the promise of time. You crouch low, your knees sinking into the damp, cool earth, the rich smell of soil filling your nostrils. Beside you, a small figure no taller than a sturdy hollyhock giggles. You watch as a tiny hand, smeared with dark streaks of mud, reaches out, fingers eagerly parting a curtain of green leaves. There, nestled amongst them, are the jewels, plump, glistening blackberries, still warm from the late summer sun. The child lets out a delighted squeal, a sound that cuts through the quiet hum of bees. You see the intense concentration on their small face as they carefully pluck a berry, its dark surface almost black, feeling its delicate weight. Then without hesitation it goes straight to their mouth. You hear a soft squish, a sound of pure, unadulterated pleasure. When the hand emerges again, it's not just muddy but stained a deep, vivid purple. The juice has smeared across the knuckles, a testament to the wild sweetness consumed. Another berry is picked, and another, the purple growing darker, more widespread, like a living tattoo of the garden's bounty. You lean in, catching the tangy, sweet scent of the crushed berries, mingled with the earthy dampness of the soil and the faint perfume of nearby lavender. You gently push back a particularly thorny branch, protecting the child as they reach for a cluster of berries just out of easy reach. Your own fingers, usually so precise with pruning shears, are now stained a similar dark hue, a shared mark of this simple, joyful trespass. You glance towards the cottage door, a quick, almost conspiratorial look. No one's watching. This small patch of berry bush, tangled and slightly wild, feels like a secret kingdom, a place where rules are softer, where sticky fingers and purple smiles are the order of the day. The mud under the child's knees leaves dark patches on their small trousers, but they seem oblivious, entirely absorbed in the immediate, tangible pleasure of the harvest. You see a flicker of pure wonder in their eyes as they hold up a particularly large, juicy berry, offering it to you with a wide, innocent grin. It's a moment of unfiltered joy, a direct connection to the raw, generous heart of nature. This garden in these small hands isn't just a place of labor or beauty. It's a living treasure chest full of delicious, messy discoveries. It makes you realize how essential it is to sometimes simply let go, to get your hands dirty, and to taste the unadulterated sweetness that the earth so freely offers, finding profound wisdom in the simple, stained hands of childhood. You watch from a discreet distance as the small figure, utterly absorbed, kneels by a patch of moist earth, hidden mostly from the main path by a sprawling clump of Solomon's seal. The air around them smells faintly of damp soil and crushed grass, a clean, raw scent. You hear the soft, scraping sound of a small wooden spoon, perhaps borrowed from the kitchen, digging determinedly into the rich, dark mud. A tiny grunting noise accompanies the effort, a sound of profound concentration. The child's hands, already liberally smeared with earth, are busy shaping something. You see them patting a mound of mud, carefully inserting small, colorful petals, probably purloined from your prize hollyhocks, into the sticky mixture. It's a mud cake, no doubt, or perhaps a grand castle for a brigade of imaginary fairies. Their brow is furrowed with serious purpose, a world unfolding entirely within the small, muddy confines of their immediate space. A discarded snail shell becomes a grand carriage, a smooth grey pebble a precious gem. You notice a tiny, almost invisible spider meticulously spinning its web between two blades of grass, completely ignored by the child, yet part of their sprawling, vibrant tableau. A small brown beetle, disturbed by the digging, scurries quickly across the child's knee, eliciting only a brief, curious glance before their attention returns to the vital architecture of their mud creation. This isn't a lesson. It's an exploration, an unfiltered interaction with the raw elements of nature. There are no rules, no defined playtime, only the boundless freedom to discover, to touch, to create. The child breaks off a twig, its rough bark scratching lightly against their finger, and uses it as a flagpole, planting a large, vibrant green leaf at its peak. You feel the warmth of the sun on your own face, hear the distant, reassuring caw of a crow, a soundtrack to this quiet, industrious play. Their focus is absolute, unburdened by the practicalities or responsibilities that define your own engagement with the garden. For them, every leaf is a sail, every stone a mountain, every patch of mud a limitless canvas. You see the joy, unconstrained and pure in their movements, in the slight tilt of their head as they consider their next addition. It's a profound reminder of the vital role this simple, wild space plays beyond sustenance or beauty. It's a living classroom, a kingdom for the burgeoning imagination. It makes you realize that sometimes the most important work in a garden isn't about what you harvest or how perfectly you prune, but about the unmeasured, invaluable gift of simply letting a child become utterly lost within its unfiltered, muddy wonder, nourishing their spirit as much as the earth nurtures your plants. The late afternoon sun, usually a comforting warmth, feels almost intrusive on your neck as you stoop over the flower beds. The air, typically a medley of fragrances, today feels charged, each scent carrying a different, unspoken weight. You're not simply picking flowers, you're choosing words carefully, anxiously, for a message that cannot be uttered aloud. This isn't for adornment, but for dialogue, a coded whisper in a world of strict decorum. Your fingers hover over a cluster of vibrant red roses. Their velvety petals, still dewy, release an intoxicating, sweet perfume as you brush past them. To choose one of these is to speak of ardent love, a powerful, almost dangerous declaration. You hesitate, the bold color feeling too overt, too vulnerable for the delicate message you must convey. Your brow furrows slightly. The stakes are high. A single misstep, a misplaced bloom could alter everything. You move to a patch of purple pansies, their delicate faces turning towards you like tiny, inquisitive thoughts. You pluck a few, their stems yielding with a soft snap, the faint, green scent a subtle counterpoint to the rose's opulence. Pansies, you know, speak of thoughtfulness, of remembrance, a safe, gentle opening. You cradle them in your palm, their fragile beauty already a small comfort against the knot of apprehension in your stomach. Next, you seek out a sprig of fresh rosemary. Its needle-like leaves feel slightly rough, almost woody, and when you rub them between your fingers, a sharp, clean, herbaceous aroma bursts forth. Rosemary always means remembrance, a quiet, steadfast loyalty. It feels solid, dependable, a grounding element for your unspoken composition. You tuck it carefully alongside the pansies, beginning the intricate architecture of your tussomussy. You pause, considering the delicate balance. Too much of one, too little of another, and the meaning shifts, distorts. You reach for a sprig of ivy, its glossy dark green leaves cool and smooth. Ivy symbolizes fidelity and unwavering devotion. It acts as a perfect, strong framework, binding the more delicate blooms together, its persistent presence speaking volumes. As you snip a piece, the faint asterisk snip of the shears sounds unnervingly loud in the quiet tension of your task. Finally, your eyes fall upon the humble mint, its ruffled leaves of vibrant green. You pluck a few, its immediate, sharp, invigorating scent a sudden clarity amidst the floral complexity. Mint for virtue, for good wishes. It's a softer, kinder note, a hopeful ending. You bind the tiny bouquet together with a scrap of ribbon, the silk cool against your anxious fingers, carefully arranging each stem, each leaf, ensuring its message is clear, yet subtly concealed within its beauty. You hold the finished tussomussy in your hand, a tiny, fragrant orb of silent communication. The air around it hums with its combined scents, a concentrated language. It feels delicate yet incredibly powerful, laden with unspoken intentions. This small, unassuming posy is more than just flowers. It's a letter, a poem, a plea, all wrapped in petals and leaves, destined to be read by the discerning eye of another. You realize how much we rely on these silent signals, on the language woven into the fabric of nature to express the deepest, most complex parts of ourselves when words themselves are simply not enough, or perhaps too much. You stand there, a tremor in your hand, extending the small, fragrant posy. The parlor air feels thick, quite unlike the open freedom of your garden. A delicate hand reaches out, cool to the touch, taking the tussomussy. The silk ribbon rustles. The recipient's eyes, neutral, meet yours briefly, conveying only expectation. They bring the bouquet to their nose, inhaling deeply. You watch, holding your breath as their gaze drifts over each bloom. Purple pansies for thoughts, the red rosebud hinting at nascent affection, rosemary for remembrance, ivy for fidelity. You feel the message unspooling, the silent decoding. The complex scent fills the space, a tangible manifestation of your unspoken sentiments. A subtle flush rises on their cheeks, a telltale pink. Their lips, previously unreadable, soften almost imperceptibly, a faint, private smile. They don't speak. Words are too loud, too direct, too dangerous here. Instead, their thumb gently strokes the rosebud petal, a small, intimate gesture speaking volumes, confirming understanding. You see a flicker in their eyes, a moment of profound acceptance, shared intimacy. It's a silent, intense connection woven through petals and leaves, understood without a single word. The power is palpable. You realize the crucial necessity of this silent language. In a society demanding restraint, where true feelings hid, flowers became eloquent messengers, bearing emotions too profound, dangerous, or impolite to be spoken. This posy, with its layered scents, held a power no direct words could achieve, a delicate bridge built on the quiet language of the garden. You reach for the marigolds, a burst of defiant orange and yellow against the green. The afternoon sun is warm on your back, but the air around these particular blooms carries a scent that's less sweet, more earthy and subtly pungent. It's the smell of something robust, something with purpose beyond mere beauty. You cup a flower head in your palm, feeling its papery, almost dry texture, then begin to carefully pull away the petals. They come away easily, a handful of sunshine collected between your fingers. Indoors, the kitchen air is steamy from the simmering pot. You drop the vibrant petals into the hot water, watching as the cheerful colors begin to dull, bleeding their essence into the liquid. A faint, earthy aroma rises with the steam, mingling with the scent of the wood smoke from the hearth. You stir the concoction with a wooden spoon, the liquid slowly transforming, deepening into a rich, golden hue like captured sunlight. This isn't simply cooking, it's a quiet alchemy, coaxing the very soul of the flower into a new form. You reach into the warm, colored liquid, carefully retrieving a piece of damp wool. The warmth immediately envelops your fingers. As you squeeze the excess water from the wool, the rich, golden dye clings stubbornly to your skin. You watch, fascinated, as your fingertips and palms begin to take on a deep orange-yellow stain. It's not a superficial mark. It seems to soak right into the pores, an indelible imprint. No amount of rubbing dislodges it entirely. The smell on your hands is now a concentrated version of the marigold's unique scent, a powerful, raw earthiness, almost metallic. You hold up your hands, turning them in the light, admiring the vibrant new color that seems to have become a part of you. This isn't a fleeting perfume or a visual spectacle. It's a tangible transformation, a piece of the garden's very essence now permanently etched onto your skin. This potent stain, a temporary tattoo from the garden, feels like a secret, a testament to the deeper magic at play. It makes you realize how profoundly these plants connect us, not just through their beauty or their sustenance, but through their very ability to impart something of themselves, literally leaving their mark. It's a reminder that true engagement with the natural world often leaves an indelible imprint, turning a simple garden into a source of enduring art and utility, woven into the fabric of your everyday life. The kitchen is warm, almost humid, filled with the peculiar, slightly acrid tang of vinegar and damp wool. You've just finished preparing the fibers, the skeins of plain, creamy white yarn hanging heavily over a wooden rack, still dripping faintly from their mordant bath. They feel surprisingly soft, almost slick, an inviting canvas awaiting their transformation. This isn't simply about adding color, it's about preparing the very soul of the material to accept the essence of the garden. You turn your attention to the large cast iron pot simmering gently over the hearth. Its contents are rich, murky brown. You inhale deeply. The air is thick with the earthy, sweet scent of crushed madder root, a perfume that speaks of ancient fields and deep hidden pigments. This is the heart of the alchemy, the promise of crimson. You reach for a long wooden stirring stick, worn smooth from countless previous dyeings, and slowly churn the liquid. The rich brown darkens, then lightens in swirls, revealing faint hints of dusty rose, like secrets slowly coming to the surface. With careful hands, you gently lower one of the damp, white wool skeins into the simmering liquid. It sinks slowly, reluctantly at first, then becomes fully submerged, instantly absorbing the dark broth. You watch as, almost magically, the white begins to blush, a subtle ethereal pink spreading through the fibers. It's a slow, captivating dance of absorption, a gradual unveiling of color. You stir it gently, ensuring an even penetration, the warm water swirling around the developing hue. Time passes, marked only by the gentle burble of the pot and the steady, quiet transformation. The initial pale pink deepens, growing richer, more assertive, shifting from rose to terracotta, then finally to a profound, deep cranberry red. The scent of the madder root, once subtle, now feels intensely concentrated, clinging to the steam that rises from the pot, warming your face. Finally, you lift the yarn from the pot, allowing the excess, now pale, water to drain back. The air hits the freshly dyed wool, and the color intensifies, glowing with a vibrant, earthy richness you could never replicate with manufactured dyes. It feels warm and heavy, imbued with a piece of the earth, a tangible fragment of the garden's hidden soul. Your fingers, stained a faint pinkish orange, are a testament to the intimate connection with the process. This isn't just dyed yarn, it's a story, a connection to the very earth, a reminder that true color, profound and lasting, comes from a patient, respectful communion with nature's own ancient artistry. The woven wicker of the basket digs into your forearm, its rough texture a familiar discomfort. It's heavy, surprisingly so, laden with the morning's bounty from your garden. Each step on the cobbled path sends a rhythmic jolt through your shoulder, an ache already settling in, but you press on. The air is cool, still holding the dampness of dawn, promising to warm as the sun climbs higher. You can smell it, a medley of fresh, vital aromas rising from the basket, the earthy coolness of potatoes, the sharp, clean tang of freshly picked herbs, and the subtle, sweet perfume of a small bunch of cottage garden flowers carefully bundled. This is the scent of your labor, of the earth you've tilled, the seeds you've sown, the water you've drawn. It's a proud, honest scent. Your sturdy boots echo faintly on the road, mixing with the distant, gentle lowing of a cow and the first tentative chirps of sparrows. Other villagers are beginning to stir. A chimney in the distance sends up a thin plume of grey smoke. Another door creaks open. You see old Mr. Davies already on his way to the bakery, offering a brief, knowing nod as you pass. He understands the early start, the weight you carry. The sun, still low, casts long, stretching shadows, but its warmth is already a welcome presence on your cheek. You shift the basket, trying to redistribute its insistent weight, feeling the muscles in your arm protest with a dull throb. Every turn of the lane brings the bustling market square a little closer, and with it, a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Will the radishes be crisp enough? Will the lavender bunches be fragrant enough? Will the coin clink satisfyingly in your palm by day's end? You feel the hope, a quiet, fervent hum beneath the physical strain. This basket isn't just full of vegetables and flowers. It's brimming with unspoken prayers, with the promise of tea, of a new pair of boots, of a warm meal for the family. Each jostle of the basket, each weary step, reinforces the fundamental connection between the generous earth and the precarious reality of daily survival. It makes you realize that the truest worth isn't just in what you produce, but in the effort, the care, and the enduring hope you pour into it, carrying it quite literally to market. You push through the last of the narrow lanes, and suddenly the world explodes around you. The quiet ache in your arm from the journey is forgotten, replaced by a dizzying surge of sensory overload. The market square isn't just bustling. It's a living, breathing creature, a vibrant heart pulsing with 1,000 lives. A cacophony of sound assaults you, the hearty shouts of vendors hawking their wares, the gentle bleating of a sheep from a pen nearby, the clatter of horse hooves on cobblestones, and an incessant murmuring drone of countless conversations, a symphony of commerce and gossip. The air, thick with 1,000 smells, assaults your nose: fresh bread, pungent cheese, earthy vegetables still damp from the morning dew, the sweet, faint perfume of your own carefully arranged flowers, and an underlying, unmistakable scent of human effort and lively exchange. You navigate the throng, a silent, determined force holding your heavy wicker basket close to your body. Elbows brush against you, voices rise and fall, the crowd a warm, shifting current, but your eyes are fixed on your small, designated patch of ground. Finally, you reach it, a small, coveted gap between Mrs. Plum's formidable cheese stall, emanating a rich, milky aroma, and young Thomas's wobbling pile of freshly split firewood. With a relieved sigh that feels deep in your chest, you carefully set your basket down, the woven wicker groaning softly under the weight. You quickly begin to arrange your wares. The neatly tied bunches of fragrant lavender, the vibrant, cheerful marigolds, the plump, freshly washed carrots, their green tops still crisp, and the small, firm potatoes, each one bearing a faint imprint of the earth. Every item is a testament to your morning's work, to the diligent hours spent tending your patch. You straighten up, taking a moment to survey the vibrant tapestry around you. Across the way, a baker's wife gestures animatedly, her apron dusted with flour, her voice a cheerful chirp, as a customer samples a warm, crusty roll. A gendarme, looking stern and official, paces slowly through the crowd, his boots thudding softly on the uneven ground. You catch the eye of old Mr. Finch, who sells eggs, and he offers a quick, tight smile, a shared understanding of the precarious, vital dance of market day. He knows, just as you do, that this isn't merely about buying and selling. It's a stage, a vibrant theatre where reputations are made and broken with a glance or a good bargain, where news travels faster than any telegraph, and where the very pulse of the community beats strongest, a gathering of lives and livelihoods. A well-dressed woman with a feathered hat pauses at your stall, her elegant gaze sweeping over your humble blooms, her lips pursed in thoughtful consideration. You offer a small, polite nod, the familiar, comforting scent of the marigolds seeming to intensify with your silent invitation. This is where your garden, your quiet, tireless effort meets the wider world, where the tangible fruits of your labor are weighed, judged, and with hope and a little luck, exchanged for the coin that sustains another week, another month, another season. It's a place of constant negotiation, a dynamic hub where the simple act of trade weaves together the very fabric of human connection, shared experience, and communal life, proving that even the most humble offerings can play a vital part in the grander tapestry. The dampness clings to your clothes, a soft, insistent chill that has settled over the garden with the deepening twilight. The air, heavy with dew, carries the rich, earthy scent of damp soil, mixed with a faint, cloying sweetness, the unmistakable smell of plants being slowly, insidiously consumed. You hold a flickering lantern, its single beam cutting a narrow swathe through the gloom, revealing the sleeping garden in stark, fleeting moments of light. Your boots make a faint, muffled sound as you tread carefully along the narrow, winding paths, your gaze sweeping across the flower beds. You're not here to admire the slumbering blooms tonight. You're on the hunt. A subtle unease, a familiar vigilance prickles at the back of your neck. You know what silently stalks your tender sprouts and delicate young leaves under the cloak of darkness. There your lantern beam catches a telltale sign, a glistening silvery trail, a faint iridescent streak stretching across a flagstone leading towards a bed of young lettuce. Your jaw tightens. You follow the path of destruction, the beam dancing ahead until you find it. A small, vibrant seedling, its tender green leaves meticulously hold, ragged edges betraying the night's unwelcome visitor. And then you spot the culprit. There, nestled comfortably at the base of a particularly succulent marigold, a plump grey slug, its skin glistening, its antennae twitching almost imperceptibly as it continues its silent feast. It's surprisingly large, almost brazen in its nighttime depredations. You can almost feel the slimy trail it leaves, envision its slow, relentless progress, a miniature, unstoppable engine of devastation. A shiver not entirely from the cold runs down your spine. You reach for the small metal tongs you carry, feeling the cold, rigid metal in your gloved hand. The thought of touching it directly makes your stomach churn. With a swift, decisive movement, you grasp the creature, feeling its soft, surprisingly resilient body give slightly under the pressure. It's an unpleasant sensation, a profound revulsion, but a necessary one. You drop it into the waiting bucket of salty water with a faint, almost inaudible plink, the sound swallowed by the vast quiet of the night. You stand there for a moment, the lantern light illuminating the empty, ravaged leaves, then sweeping across the unbroken, silvery trails that crisscross the damp earth. This isn't a battle you win once and for all. It's an unceasing, nightly skirmish, a constant vigilance against the relentless, unseen forces of nature that seek to reclaim what you have so carefully nurtured. It makes you realize that true guardianship isn't about control, but about a tireless, often unpleasant dance of protection, a quiet, unglamorous war waged every single night beneath the innocent beauty of the moonlit garden. The morning sun feels weak, almost anemic as it struggles to pierce the lingering chill of dawn. Your fingers are already gritty, stained a faint, stubborn grey. You plunge a gloved hand into the wooden bucket, feeling the dry, fine powder of ash and soot clinging to the rough fabric. The faint, acrid smell of burnt wood, a ghost of last night's fire, rises with the dust, a stark contrast to the sweet floral perfumes of high summer. You move through your nascent beds, your brow furrowed with a grim determination. The young sprouts of lettuce, the tender shoots of delphiniums, they all bear the scars, jagged holes, ragged edges, the telltale signs of a nighttime raid. You shake your head, a sigh escaping your lips. The battle is constant, relentless. With careful precision, you begin to sprinkle the ash, creating a delicate, pale grey barrier around each vulnerable plant. The fine dust drifts softly, settling on the damp earth, clinging to the lowest leaves. You feel its dry grit under your thumb, the slight resistance as it coats the tender stems. It's a slow, painstaking process, requiring a steady hand and absolute focus. Each pinch of ash, each protective circle you lay feels like a small act of defiance, a silent declaration of war against the unseen forces that conspire against your efforts. The soot, darker and richer, provides an even stronger defense. You mix it with the ash, creating a more formidable deterrent. You know the theory passed down through generations. The sharp, abrasive particles deter the soft-bodied slugs and snails, making their nightly feast a treacherous journey. It's a natural armor, a humble shield against a relentless enemy. You work methodically, your movements a rhythmic dance between protection and prevention, the quiet sounds of your labor blending with the distant caw of a rook. As you finish, stepping back to survey your defended patch, a small, weary hope settles within you. You can only do so much. You've given them your effort, your vigilance, the protective remnants of your hearth. The rest, you know, is in the hands of something larger than yourself. This isn't just a physical barrier. It's a silent plea, a desperate trust that these simple, age-old remedies will prove strong enough. It makes you feel the sheer vulnerability of life, the constant struggle for existence, and the profound, almost spiritual connection between your relentless care and the quiet, enduring hope that your precious garden will, against all odds, continue to thrive. The morning air is still cool, but your brow is already damp with a fine sheen of sweat. You kneel by the edge of your vegetable patch, your hands moving with an almost reverent precision. Here the soil is particularly rich, meticulously worked home to the finest specimens of your harvest. These aren't for your own stew, not for your family's table. These are for the manor house, a careful selection, a necessary tribute. You reach for a cabbage, its leaves a vibrant, unblemished green, still glistening with dew. You feel its dense, weighty heart, firm and perfect, unlike the smaller, tougher ones you set aside for yourself. You carefully twist it from the earth, the roots making a soft, tearing sound, and then gently brush away the clinging soil, each motion a silent prayer that it meets the exacting standards of the master's kitchen. Next, a carrot. You plunge your trowel deep, levering it out of the earth. Its skin is a brilliant, unblemished orange, its form long and straight, a model of perfection. You hold it, feeling its smooth, cool weight, the faint, sweet earthiness on your fingers, and for a fleeting moment you imagine its crisp crunch, the taste on your own tongue. But you set it aside carefully beside the immaculate cabbage, in a separate, cleaner basket lined with fresh, cool leaves. You do this with several items, the plumpest spring onions, their green tips unbruised. The most unblemished runner beans, snapped straight from the vine. Each chosen piece represents the very best of your labor, the cream of your hardened bounty. As you gather them, the subtle perfume of each vegetable mixes, creating an aroma of unspoiled freshness, a testament to the richness of the earth and your tireless dedication. You look towards the distant, imposing silhouette of the manor house, half hidden by ancient oaks. It casts a long, invisible shadow over your entire garden, over your life. The act of selecting these tribute vegetables is always tinged with a complex flavor, a bitter note of obligation, a quiet resentment at surrendering your finest, yet also a flicker of pride in the sheer quality of what you produce. It's a silent, undeniable acknowledgement of your place, of the hierarchy etched into the very landscape. You realize that some sustenance isn't just about feeding the body. It's about maintaining a delicate, sometimes bitter, balance, a necessary offering that ensures your own quiet existence can continue in the shadow of a grander world. You stand by the old dry stone wall, your hand resting on its rough, sun-warmed surface. Each weathered stone, fitted together without mortar, feels solid, ancient, a silent sentinel marking the boundary of your small world. Beyond it, the land stretches out, meticulously manicured lawns and regimented rows of ancient trees, all belonging to the manor. This wall isn't just a physical separation. It's a constant, palpable reminder that your own patch, this vibrant, messy kingdom you tend with such devotion, is ultimately borrowed, a grace extended by the distant, imposing house. You turn back to your garden, your gaze sweeping over the riot of colors and textures. Here, the snapdragons spill over the path, the lavender hums with bees, and the rose climbs with wild abandon. There's a freedom in this cultivation, a personal expression in every carefully chosen seed, every plant allowed to grow as it wishes within reason. You can plant what you like, tend it how you see fit, and harvest its bounty. This is your measured freedom, a privilege held in the shadow of a larger estate. You feel the soil under your fingernails, the honest grit, a tangible connection to this earth you tend, even if you don't truly own it. You hear the distant clip-clop of hooves on the manor's gravel drive, a faint, polite sound that nevertheless carries weight. Perhaps a carriage is approaching, or merely the stable boy returning from an errand. It's a subtle reminder of the watchful eyes, the unspoken expectations. Your own garden, while a haven of personal expression, is also a reflection, a small window into your diligence, your character, presented to those who hold the reins of your existence. You make sure the edge of your vegetable patch closest to the manor path is always tidy, the weeds kept rigorously at bay, a small, quiet